Pathologic 3 Quarantine released their final patch, and the game is officially done being edited and updated. Ice Pick Lodge has taken careful consideration and lots of feedback, and are now returning to working on the full game of Pathologic 3. While Pathologic 3 Quarantine was about 45 minutes to 2 hours of content depending on how you played, it is chock full of references to the earlier two games and fun Easter eggs that can tell us a little more about what Pathologic 3 may look like. Some of them are fun, and others are a little disturbing, but if there wasn't something disturbing, I don't think this would be a Pathologic video. So, if you don't know me already, my name is KX Cobraful, but you can call me Cobbs, and I really like yapping about games that I love, and one franchise that I am crazy about is the Pathologic franchise, including Pathologic Classic, Pathologic 2, and eventually Pathologic 3. In today's video, I'm going to go over 6 Easter eggs, you could call them, or things that you might have missed in your initial playthrough of Pathologic 3 Quarantine. And for those of you who don't know, just to catch you up, Pathologic 3 is the third installment in the Pathologic franchise, but it is not chronologically the third game. It is a remaster slash remake slash reimagining of Pathologic Classic, and in a way, a different perspective of Pathologic 2. There's a lot of different ways you could describe this game, but all you need to know is that Pathologic 3 will eventually be a reimagining and updated version of one of the routes of Pathologic Classic. Pathologic 3 Quarantine, which is the game we are discussing today, is a sneak peek slash teaser slash demo of what we will see in the full game's release. Before we begin, if you like content like this, games like this, or just found yourself entertained or amused at any point in this video, please consider giving this video a like, subscribe, and if you're feeling spicy, a comment. It means a lot to me, and it helps a lot with YouTube and the algorithm. And a big shout out to everyone who is subscribed to the Patreon who got this video about a week early. Thank you so much for your continued support. It really means a lot. And if you want more info on all of the benefits you get with subscribing to the Patreon, the link will be in the description. I'm also currently playing through Pathologic Classic on stream, and that is going about how you might imagine it would. So if that sounds like something that would be interesting, hit the subscribe button and hang around, as I'll have that playthrough uploaded with day-by-day footage. Anyways, let's get to the good stuff. Here are 6 things you might have missed in Pathologic 3 Quarantine. In Pathologic 2 and Pathologic Classic, once you reach day 7, our Inquisitor Aglaela arrives to the town. In the Bachelor's route in Classic, you can talk to her and discover she is well aware of Dankovsky's work and has even spoken to him prior to their meeting in the town of the Ghorkon. With this in mind, you can see someone looking suspiciously like her in the intro to the game, which is really the end of the 12 days of the game. I'm not sure if this is 1000% her, but it does look suspiciously like her, and I'm of the opinion there are no coincidences when it comes to the Pathologic franchise. Why is she here though? Getting destroyed by the Wheel of Time? I'm unsure. Could be something to do with the powers that be, or it's also hinted at in Classic that the powers that be are kind of done with her, so it could just be a fun Easter egg since she's technically from the capital as well. Or it could be that the wheel has something to do with the powers that be and it's crushing not only Thanatica but also Aglaela, since, like I said, in Classic it's kind of alluded to that they're like done with her as well, but I don't know, I'm kind of rambling. As you can tell, for a while, I've been a little low on Classic lore and knowledge, but now that I've played about 7 days of it, I'm essentially an expert. That's sarcastic. Please don't take me at face value. I will say, though, I did not notice Aglaela at the beginning of the game. I have to give credit for that to my good friend Sephi, who plays a lot of Pathologic and talks a lot about it over on her Twitter, so please make sure you go check her out. The link for that is in the description below. Next, we have something that is marginally less lore heavy and could just be fun. Once you go through the wheel intro and get introduced to what I believe is your conscience, no, I will not say more about that, you arrive back at Thanatica on day 1. Once you get your bearings, you hear the thundering footsteps of people coming to shut down your lab. On your first playthrough, you get the impression you have a short amount of time to get out before they are able to apprehend you. But you can actually spend quite a bit of time here looking around. You can read the letter Isidore Burak sent you, you can examine some very suspicious looking insects, and just look at the lab as a whole. Before you leave, your assistant will give you a gun to help you escape. Dankovsky has the option to say something to the effect of, "I am trying to get people to live longer, I don't need a gun," which is ironic because there's actually another gun in the lab itself you can get before leaving. Before you go to leave, you can check the drawer immediately in front of you and it will have one singular revolver. I seem to also recall another revolver you can pick up in the hospital, but I could not find it after the previous patch. Like I said, this is a little less lore heavy and more just goofy, but it also makes me wonder what exactly they were preparing for just keeping revolvers in the desk drawer. I think with video game logic, we just kind of accept that as it is, but I can't imagine, I guess I can, I live in the United States, but I can't imagine going to a university lab and just pulling a revolver out of a desk drawer, you know what I mean? But who knows, I could be looking too much into it. Our next fun little Easter egg is found after you successfully solve the 3 diagnoses in the hospital. Once you're finished, you are tasked with returning to Eva at the Stillwater for some well-deserved R&R. To do this, you are forced through a rebelling district. During the 12 days our bachelor spends in the town of the Ghorkon, he is tasked with setting rules and regulations in order to keep order within the town while he and his fellow healers search for an end to the plague. Obviously, they go about these solutions differently, but I digress. With Pathologic, there is rarely a good or correct solution to a problem. Every action has a reaction, and Daniil is no different. When you set certain regulations, such as enforcing a quarantine, your decisions will have effects felt throughout the entire town, such as causing a district to rebel. Your first playthrough, you'll get to this district and feel the pressure that Dankovsky himself must be feeling. He is not someone used to violence, and you can almost feel his discomfort as you sprint through the district to the exit. There's also a chance you've reached this point of the game without any ammo, so the knowledge that if the rebelling townsfolk decide to attack you, you are at their mercy only adds to the pressure. I will make a quick note here too, that if you reach this point of the game without any ammo and still try to shoot one of the townsfolk, they will hear the revolver click as if it is empty and will attack you, which I think is really cool on IPL's part.
Come here. He's out of ammo.
That's all to say though, when you get to this district for the first time, you're getting in and out as soon as you can. But if you slow down, you'll realize this is the district commonly referred to as the Gut in Pathologic Classic and Pathologic 2. This is also where Capella and Fat Vlad live, and if you chance a look up as you're running by their house, you'll see the rebelling townsfolk have hung Capella in the street. While this would be shocking to most people new to this franchise, for some reason in almost every promotional material for Pathologic 3, they have hung one of the kids. I think we commonly see Notkin and Khan, but I guess Capella is not safe from the townsfolk either. So honestly, as shocking as it might be your first go around, it's also not really surprising. It's like, okay, well, IPL is hanging kids again. That's kind of weird, but whatever. I have many thoughts about this. In each game, the healers have bound, or characters they are trying to keep alive that are important to their story and arc. In Classic, you have to complete the quest of the day in order to keep them alive. In Pathologic 2, it's not so simple. You can give them better chances at not getting infected, but at the end of each day, it is a roll of the dice. My theory here is that in Pathologic 3, the decisions you make will not only affect the state of each district, but it can alter the chances of survival of the people in each district. Unless you're an absolute god, it is nigh impossible to save every single person in Pathologic 2. Even then, it is 75% skill and 25% RNG. I think this will be part of Daniil's gameplay as well. Not only developing the vaccine, but having to make decisions that could lead to more death for the overall betterment of the town as a whole. This also kind of falls in line with Daniil's time travel function, which is charged up when he helps a sick and dying person have an easy passing. Sure, Daniil's not someone who would normally just take a life, but in a way, it is a sacrifice that allows him a greater chance at saving the town via the time travel ability. It could also go into the ethics of easing someone's passing into a painless experience versus letting them die in a puddle, but I don't have enough time for that one. I've rambled enough on this particular fun little Easter egg as well, but we've got more to discuss, so let's move on from Dear Capella. Another easy to miss tidbit we discovered during quarantine is Dankovsky's affinity for mirrors. In the game's initial version, nothing was noted to the player about mirrors. It was an easy thing to miss, but breaking mirrors would cause the amalgam meter to go up. Funnily enough, also in the initial version of the game, the amalgam meter was not something that was ever explained in great detail. It was funny, when the game initially released before its first patch, me and my friend Steffi actually had a lot of discussion about what the little stone-looking thing was in the corner of the screen. It was pretty funny considering now it's a clear-cut explanation. In the game's final version, when you do leave the hospital, the player is informed that Amalgam allows you to revisit another day and alter its events, and that it is acquired through successful euthanasia and breaking mirrors. There is a lot to unpack with the idea that giving someone an easy passing into the afterlife gives Dankovsky more ability to travel to other days, but I want to focus on the mirror piece for now. It seems out of place thematically when its counterpart is so involved and connected with death, but I do want to bring attention to older myths regarding mirrors. I don't have too many direct peer-reviewed academic sources for this one. It's just something that I've kind of gleaned from running in various spiritual circles and lines of thought. Mirrors, though, back in the day, were often viewed to be portals or windows into other dimensions. So when you consider them almost as a portal to another time, then from that framework, it makes sense that breaking them would give you more time traveling juice, so to speak. Hey, this is future Cobbs editing this, or maybe current. I don't know. Time travel is confusing. Anyways, it looks like there was an experiment done on this, and I'm not going to go too deep into the details because honestly, I don't think they're super prevalent for the point I'm trying to make, but it looks like there were some Russian scientists who looked into mirrors as being portals for time travel, like somewhat recently. Like, I don't mean recently like this year, but like within the last century. Don't quote me on that, but I'll put the link for that in the description. I think the point that I'm trying to make is that this belief, like IPL did not come up with this belief, like this has been floating around for a little bit, or belief or idea, I guess is a better word for that. But it does look like other people, especially like considering they're Russian scientists and IPL is a Russian studio, it does look like people have looked into this phenomena before. So if that's something that interests you, like I said, link will be in the description. Truthfully, if I look at too many conspiracy theories, my brain will explode. So I'm not going to look into it, but you guys are more than welcome. Anyways, back to the rest of this part of the video. There's also a lot of discussion surrounding Dankovsky's identity in the fandom, and at one point I want to say that mirrors and staring at them caused apathy, but if that was ever the case, it has been changed and patched since then. Regardless though, mirrors seem to be a point of interest for Dankovsky, and I'm excited to learn more about them and their significance. Next on our list are two children that are fairly easy to miss in any game within the franchise really, Thrush and Measley. In Pathologic 2, Artemy has a dream where all of the kids appear, and if you look behind him up on a ledge, you can see two kids named Thrush and Measley. There's a lot going on with these kids, especially in Classic, but not as much in Pathologic 2, which makes sense. In Classic, these two kids are often connected with the powers that be, and in Classic, Artemy receives the least amount of communication from them, so it makes sense that we don't see them a whole lot in Pathologic 2. I want to avoid too many big Pathologic spoilers here, so I'll leave their description as that. Two creepy kids that in a way tend to kind of haunt all three protagonists and are vaguely connected with the powers that be. When you get to the Stillwater after successfully making it through the rebelling district, you can see three kids playing with a boat next to the Stillwater. The Patho fan in me wants to think this is an allusion to the boat crossing the river Styx into the underworld, as the Ghorkon River itself has a lot of references to that myth, but I will not bore you with that path today. I say bore you with that. That sounds like a very interesting line of thought, but I just don't have the marbles for that today. The kids say some really weird dialogue about the boat, and you eventually ignore them and go inside to talk to Eva. That is all you really get from this interaction. That being said, I don't think there are any coincidences with Pathologic and IPL, and two of the three kids playing with the boat are the same exact models for Thrush and Measley. Like, when you think about how many different character models we have for kids, and they chose those specific two to be here, could this be the powers that be, or am I just absolutely reaching? Probably the latter. You also can't ignore the fact that there is a third unrelated child there. So I don't know if this is it could just be fun reference. It might not be in a direct, it might just be a reference to them. It might not be the direct kids themselves. It's just weird that they would include these two very specific and relevant character models to have right next to Dankovsky's place of residence, but who knows, I might be crazy. Lastly, we have a sort of silly fun one. As I've stated before, one of the responsibilities our dear Bachelor holds is setting rules and regulations for the town. We see a preview of this in quarantine when we remove the quarantine decree and are tasked with setting new decrees to help the town stay afloat. Among many decent and well thought out options, there are 2 decree cards that can be easy to miss but are worth searching for and considering, in my opinion. The first is a denial. This one, if enforced, prohibits dying. I could go into the semantics on how denial of the actual atrocities that are happening is never a good thing, and that attempting to deny death in any sort of way is what kind of got us in this predicament, looking at you, Thanatica. But it's also equally as amusing to assume that Dankovsky throws his hands in the air at some point and is just like, no more dying! Dying is illegal, no more dying. Because, like, at this point, what else could you fucking try? Like, what else could you do? So, I think this one is a solid option for our dear Bachelor and a good first step towards a potential solution. Our second decree that will surely lead us to victory here is Ban Shabnak. The Ban Shabnak card prohibit any discussion or assisting of the Shabnakadir because, after all, it is just a myth. I think what this one is doing is trying to stop people from spreading rumors about the Shabnakadir, because in the first few days you're there, people are like burning stepwomen alive and accusing them of being Shabnaks, and it's like kind of getting out of control. It's like a Russian witch trials kind of situation. It's like kind of fucked up. But also, in hindsight, I also like to imagine the Bachelor just being like, no more death, no more dying, no more Shabnaks, no more of this, I'm done, enough. Because, again, I don't know what else I would do in this situation. Probably just make it illegal to do anything. Well, I guess he did try that with the quarantine and we saw how it worked out. But I'm sure he's got it. He'll figure it out. I will say, I haven't been able to find this card again after my first time playing the game. The footage that we watched of the card is from my first time streaming and playing the game, like my first reaction. So it was the day it came out. So I don't know if they patched it or if I'm just extremely unlucky. I've played through a few other times trying to get the card for footage sake and have been unsuccessful, but maybe he did ban the Shabnak and we are just, maybe we're in the timeline where he banned the Shabnak and now it no longer exists, but who's to say? Anyways, those are 6 things you might have missed in Pathologic 3 Quarantine. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun making this video. I'm going a little stir crazy as now we're back to waiting for any Pathologic 3 news, but I'm still really excited. So if there's anything else you found that we missed or anything I was wrong about, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear. Also, if you made it to this point in the video, would love if you left a like and subscribe and came to hang out with us in Discord. I think we have a pretty cool community, but I might be a little biased, so. Anyways, thank you again, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.